Oh, no. Oh my goodness. I previously owned a 2016 Ducati XDiavel S, which was an absolutely amazing and thrilling bike, a really good looking bike. But I have this 2020 Yamaha MT09 now that at first, when I first did my first ride review on this bike, I was a bit underwhelmed for the first ride. I'm looking for this thing to have a lot of grunt and power right off the line. I'll tell you, my YZ 450 FX Supermoto hits harder off the line than this bike. But that's in stock form. If you want to see that video, I'll include that video link in the description and comment section of this video. But since I added the Akrapovic full exhaust and flashed the ECU, completely different bike, guys. But I know some of you guys are thinking, CycleCruza, don't compare the Ducati XDiavel to the MT09. Two completely different classes of bikes. The Ducati XDiavel is a power cruiser because it does have the feet forward riding position like most cruisers. It sits low, but it just has balls out power off the line versus a street fighter. This bike has balls off power off the line. Both of them are very comfortable bikes to ride. So for those of you guys that are on your maybe starter bike or whatever bike and you're thinking, CycleCruza, you know, should I go with this Ducati XDiavel that you said was amazing? Because I'm really kind of leaning towards cruisers because I feel like I'm more of a cruiser rider, and but that's got all kinds of power like the sport bike, so I won't be missing the power department, but yet I'll be riding comfortably and looking cool on the Ducati XDiavel. But on the other hand, do I go with the much cheaper Yamaha MT09 that I bought this for $9,000 out the door? The Ducati XDiavel brand new is like $27,000. I got a sick deal. It was slightly used. It had like 3,000 miles, a little bit over a year old, and I paid like $15,500 I think for it. I saved a lot of money. You can save a lot of money by getting used, guys. But I'm going to tell you whether you should get the more budget MT09 as opposed to the XDiavel, or maybe go with the XDiavel as opposed to MT09. I'm going to give you some pros and cons of each bike, so stay tuned.
Let's go for a ride. Watching CycleCruza's all-in-one motorcycle channel. Subscribe today. Make sure to visit CycleCruza.com and click on the menu tab My Videos, and those are a bunch of playlists with all of my videos categorized in them to make it easier for you to navigate through.
Those of you may be wondering what gear I'm wearing and you want to get links to it. For those of you guys that want to get this ultra lightweight carbon fiber helmet with auto tint shield, motovlog camera, airbag vest, Sedici jacket with the water bladder pouch, shorty gloves, all my gear always include links in the description and comment section of my videos. Oh yeah. Sounds proper now. I will tell you right off the bat, guys, sitting on this bike compared to sitting on a Ducati XDiavel, this bike feels so much better just sitting on it. That bike, it's like bulky up here. This feels, you kind of feel more at one with this bike compared to the XDiavel. It's like the XDiavel, you're just kind of on this big, and that's a lightweight cruiser. It only weighs 540 pounds, 542 pounds stock, which is light for a cruiser. This thing's modded. This thing's only 410 pounds, man, but yeah, two completely different bikes. But honestly, the power is kind of similar, believe it or not. That has a 1262 Testastretta L twin engine, which is absolutely amazing. That engine is so beautiful and soulful. You put a full Termoni exhaust on there and that thing sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's actually too loud. But this bike sounds pretty legit too with this full Akrapovic exhaust, except for that D-cell pop that I don't like. maybe I'll get rid of that somehow. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal though. Woo! Oh my goodness. I will tell you guys, even though I dissed this bike in stock form in my initial review, when you put the full exhaust and flash ECU, it completely changes this bike, guys. This bike pulls harder off the line than the XDiavel, and the XDiavel pulls hard. That bike is amazing. It's a strong, powerful, fun bike. But obviously, that's pulling 542 pounds. This is pulling 410 pounds. So that's the, you know, obviously it's going to pull a bit harder on this bike, especially with this triple cylinder engine. That's a L twin, and twins pull hard too, man. But I'll be honest with you, the L twin engine is a bit more soulful than this bike. So power off the, I'll just tell you, overall top end power when you get up on the highway, which I'll be getting, I'll just wait till I get to the highway here to cover that. But before I cover that, I don't like the feet forward riding position on the XDiavel. I feel vulnerable. Some of you guys like it, and if you do, then maybe that's better suited for you. But I would tell you, this MT09, the mid pegs are very comfortable on this bike. I'm 6'1" with about a 34-inch inseam. I weigh about $175, and I'll tell you that my legs are really comfortable, and the upright seating position on here is comfortable. Actually, the seating position really is kind of more comfortable on this bike than it is the XDiavel, because even though you get the feet forward pegs, which is kind of really comfortable, like you're in a recliner, the bars and the way you sit is like a U shape. It's kind of weird in stock form. You can't alter that by putting on different bars. But the rear suspension on that sucks on the XDiavel. It sucks. When you hit bumps on that bike, it will jar your back. You'll feel it, man. It wasn't that big of a deal to me, but after riding it for a period of time and hitting these horrible, filthy streets of Cleveland that you see here with potholes even on the highway, it starts to get to you, you know, and after you ride for 5+ hours, it starts to jar you and you feel it. This one, the rear suspension, the suspension on this one, the front fork is good on this bike, but the rear shock is not that great either. I have yet to tune it for my weight though, but it's not nearly as uncomfortable as the XDiavel. Like, I just hit a big bump there and it didn't jar my back, you know, spine like the XDiavel does. So that's something to consider. Now, a lot of people do swap out to Öhlins rear shock on the XDiavel like they do on this bike, but stock versus stock, as far as comfort level out here on the street, this suspension is more, and the riding position really is kind of more comfortable than the XDiavel. Now, as far as the highway, we're on the highway here. Okay, let me get into 6th gear. 6th gear, full throttle pull, wide open. A lot better than stock, guys. A lot better than stock. 5th is the best. See that? 5th is the best. So the XDiavel, I feel like it pulled maybe a little bit harder. Oh, look at that. Oh, especially in stock form, it pulled harder. But we're talking about a bike that's a liter bike. It's 1262 L twin cc. So it's got 150 horsepower. This bike has what, 115 horsepower or something like that. 67 something pounds-feet of torque. That's got like 90 pounds-feet of torque, but it's carrying an extra 100 plus pounds. So the extra power that you get on that bike is not all that like night and day, probably better than this. But this bike is legit when you mod it. Like I said, when you mod it, that's the key. And I've been saying that in many videos. When you mod it, it's legit. But overall, I have to say that I prefer this bike over the XDiavel. The XDiavel also produced more heat, which is not as much as the Aprilia Tuono, but it did. And this one produces no heat to me on the rider at all. And like I said, the price difference is night and day. But honestly, I feel like you're getting more value with this bike, with all that you get. It's more versatile because you can use it at the track, you can use it on the street, you can tour with this bike, put a big windscreen that's got some bolts right on the front, take 2 seconds to put on a big screen, put bags on the back of here, and you got a touring bike. You know, soup the suspension up on this bike, you could take it to the track, and you could ride this at the track. You know, you can't XDiavel, you're not going to ride at the track. I mean that bike's not going to hit the corners probably like this bike does. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, if I were, for those of you guys that are looking for the best overall bike to do a little bit of everything on, and a fun bike, a good looking bike, and the parts are a lot cheaper on this. There's obviously more Yamaha dealers. Just let them know I'm coming. Much more reliable than Ducati. That's another reason why I got rid of the Ducati, is because it you know, the rear brake went out on it, and I saw where people had some troubles with the bike, so I was like, I better get rid of it, because it's extremely expensive to fix that bike, man, and maintain the bike, as opposed to this bike. This bike, you don't have to do much but change the oil, man, and lubricate the chain. I think, what is it, 26,000 miles before you have to... This thing cooks. I swear it cooks, man. It pulls harder than that XDiavel, man. Modded. Stock, I'd say the XDiavel pulled harder, stock versus stock, but... oh my goodness, man. Yeah, definitely MT09 all day, baby. Definitely MT09 over the XDiavel. But if you're a die-hard cruiser fan and you like the absolutely need to have the feet forward design, and you will enjoy the XDiavel, I'll tell you, just as much probably as you would this bike. Obviously, like I said, big cost difference, but if you got a lot of bucks and it doesn't matter, then hey, it's up to you, man. But honestly, you'd be better off with this bike. So there you go. That's my 2 cents between the two different bikes. I hope that helps you. Leave a comment below. Which bike would you choose, the XDiavel or the Yamaha MT09? Leave a comment. Why? Which bike do you think looks better? I want to hear from you. I love talking with you guys. Please leave a comment. Hit the like button. I help you. It helps my videos. It helps my channel. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my All Over Motorcycle channel, and also go check out my other channel, Bug Out Moto.
Thumbs up. Check out my playlist for new riders and popular videos. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and check out my other channel, Bug Out Moto, where I customize a van for my motorcycle so I can live in my van with my motorcycle and travel across the country anywhere. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bug Out Moto.